Welcome back. This is Rito here with another Terraria Journey's End item showcase. Today we are going to be looking at the amazing Stellar Tune. This is a super rare item that you can acquire from the Empress of Light. It is a 2% drop rate, but it is such a cool, amazing weapon. You can see it shoots out these stars, and you have a really fun sound of a guitar as you strum it and shoot these awesome stars. So in this video, I want to test out this awesome weapon, see what it can do against some bosses, and I also want to compare it to some of the other endgame weapons that you can acquire. So let's go ahead and see what this Stellar Tune can do. So I've got it rolled to Demonic, and you can see I'm doing about 2,000 damage with it right here. And it's pretty interesting because you can shoot through walls. So let me stand in my tree, and you can see I'm shooting through the tree wall. The damage does go up quite a bit if you're hitting close targets because it's doing that splash damage. So right here with 4 targets, we're able to get 7,000. Another thing that's really cool about this weapon is you can have different sounds of the guitar the farther you shoot. You see it's got this note, and then it changes. And you can see they kind of fly in like a little bit of a wave pattern. It's kind of like a sound wave, pretty sweet. And they do explode after a certain point. You can see it doesn't get all the way to the edge of the screen. So let's go ahead and try this weapon out against some bosses, and let's see how it performs. So the gear I've got right now is the Nebula armor, and then I've got the Celestial Starboard, Amphibian Boots, I've got Master Ninja gear, Soaring Insignia, the Celestial Shell, the Magnet Flower, and the Destroyer Emblem. Let's go ahead and summon the King Slime, and let's see how it does. Okay, so we got the King Slime right here, and I have a feeling this is going to do fast work. Oh yeah, that like instantly killed the King Slime. And you can see right there, 3,700 damage was the last that it clocked. So let's try the suspicious looking eye and see what the Eye of Cthulhu does. So pretty fast clear there, and we're doing like 2,000 damage per second. Another thing I can do is use up all of our buffs. I've got a whole bunch of buffs. You see we've got pretty much everything now. So let's try doing some more bosses. Let's go with all of the mechanical bosses. And let's see how this does against all of the mech bosses. It's doing pretty well. The noise is getting a little bit old, but it's still pretty fun. So we got to pick up all these little nebula buffs. It's nice that this is so homing. So it looks like we killed the destroyer super fast there. I didn't even notice that the destroyer was here. Okay, well, if you get too far away, you start missing shots, so it's good to try to stay pretty close. And there we go, we killed all the mechanical bosses. And if you notice, I don't bother picking up the items because I'm holding an encumbering stone, and that just keeps me from having to loot up all the stuff. Now, let's go ahead and try a few more bosses. I want to try the Queen Slime. I think that'd be a fun one to fight with this. Here we go. It's doing pretty well. We're getting like a consistent 3,500 damage. 4,500 there for a second. There we go. Not bad at all. For something you can get right after Plantera, this is pretty impressive. I mean, obviously we've got some powered up gear. So now let's go ahead and try this against the Empress of Light. So I made a tutorial on how to fight the Empress of Light and all of that. So if you're interested in learning it more, be sure to check that video out. But the general idea is that you can get these prismatic lace wings at night, and you can catch them with a bug net. So I've got one that we've caught right here, and I'm going to set it free, and all you need to do is kill one of these prismatic lace wings, and it will summon the Empress of Light. So let's go ahead and fight it, and then this is the boss that will drop the Stellar Tune. So you definitely want to fight her a whole bunch if you're going to try to get this weapon. I actually got this weapon super randomly when I was doing the showcase video for the Empress of Light. And yeah, it's a 2% drop rate, but I got it on, I think, the first or second boss bag, which was pretty awesome. Such a fun boss fight. But we need to be careful here. So the nice thing about this weapon is how much it can home. It really helps out a lot. So you can definitely see that this weapon is quite capable of destroying the Empress of Light. It may not be my favorite weapon for doing this, but it's pretty good. Especially on like the phase where she's kind of following you pretty closely. As long as you keep her pretty close, like halfway across the screen or so, these will home very nicely and you'll kill her in no time. And here we go, she's almost dead, and we got her. So another thing I want to do is try this weapon out on some pillars. So here we go, we have the Vortex Pillar. And let's see how it goes. It's pretty powerful. Once again, you do have to keep yourself pretty close to these enemies. When we've got a bunch of enemies nearby, we're able to do 3 to 4,000 damage. And let's go ahead and put on our Nebula Blaze and see how much damage we're doing. So with a bunch of enemies, we're able to quickly do, you know, over 4,000, more consistently like 3. So this is definitely a great magic weapon, especially since you can obtain it post-Plantera, but it's definitely not better than the Nebula weapons, and it's probably not better than Razorblade Typhoon either. With the Razorblade Typhoon, we're doing like a consistent 3,000 damage. So yeah, it's kind of comparable, I'd say, to the Razorblade Typhoon. I'm sure the Razorblade Typhoon has a little bit more utility than the Stellar Tune, and it's certainly easier to obtain, but it's around that tier is where I'd kind of place it. And that concludes our showcase of the awesome Stellar Tune weapon. It can be obtained from the Empress of Light in the 1.4 Terraria Journey's End update, and it is a 2% drop rate, so be sure to collect tons of those little butterflies so you can farm up the Empress of Light quite a bit if you want to obtain this weapon. I love that it shows the weapon when you hold it, even if you're not using it. I think that's a really awesome effect that it just shows up on your character. And that's it for the Stellar Tune. I hope you all have enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe. I post lots of Terraria 1.4 videos showing the new weapons and items and boss fights and everything. I'm also doing a Master Mode Melee playthrough, so be sure to check that out if you're interested. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.